Founded in 2014, the Extraordinary Achievers' vision is to empower others to be the best version of themselves. The show is hosted by Chief Lady Waynette Peters, a multi-entrepreneur, empowerment speaker, confidence mentor, positive lifestyle coach, humanitarian ambassador, and a TV host. Lady Waynette is a holder of over 35 international awards for her humanitarian, philanthropic, and international empowerment contributions and holds 2 chieftaincy titles. Welcome to the Extraordinary Achievers Show.
Thank you for joining us to another episode of the Extraordinary Achievers Show, where we're covering community affairs and interests. We welcome you to join us every Wednesday at 8 p.m. live on Facebook, YouTube, on our website, and several other media platforms. We take this opportunity to thank the various admins of the several Facebook pages we air live on, and especially to you that has shared this program. We also take this opportunity to thank our media team and to all our administration team members. For every share that has been made on social media or virtual communication tools, I am grateful. To our viewers from our various platforms, Facebook, welcome. YouTube, welcome. Twitter, we welcome you. And LinkedIn, we welcome you to another episode of The Extraordinary Achievers. We appreciate your patronage. We at The Extraordinary Achievers appreciate our guests and we appreciate you, our viewers. We would like to encourage you to follow us on all our social media pages and platforms.
For real-life stories broadcasted live on air, so please subscribe to our newsletter from our website. We will be honored if you could please like and follow our Facebook pages. Stay in touch and tune in by subscribing to our YouTube channel. Thank you for following us on our Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Tumblr, and TikTok. We are live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. GMT. Please do share with others.
Whilst we give you an opportunity to share this live broadcast with friends, family, associates, and others, and in support of a community business, we will exhibit this video. And this is from Jerk Seasoning, A Taste of the Caribbean by Sean Buchanan. That was Jack Royal Seasoning, and that is a production of Sean Buchanan and A Taste of the Caribbean. We today are talking about prison to purpose, rehabilitation and restoration. And just to let you know that there are many of us that are tuned in right now. We don't have the correct figure showing up on our screens. We have outside a streaming channel that we use that therefore means that the correct number of viewers will only be seen after the show. Joining us on the show later on is Gwenton. In the meantime, we have Michael on the show today. Michael Bill, A Few Great Men, the founder of A Few Great Men. We would like to welcome you, Michael.
Peace to you. Peace to you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. And Michael Bill is a founder of A Few Great Men and has conducted workshops in London prisons and runs projects in schools and in communities. He also featured on ITV's Welcome to HMP Belmarsh with Ross Kemp. And he joins us today on the Extraordinary Achievers to share with us what his organization is doing. Also on the show today, we are joined by a mother, an amazing. We are also joined by Mary Reid. Mary Reid, with Instagram handle name of Mary One, is here to share us the voice of a mother. She is the founder of Mindset Reset. And Mary joins us today to share with us what it's like to be a mother with sons in prison. How is the community and how is it for her? And today we will be talking to her too, and we welcome her on the show. So we're going to hear from Michael in a minute. But in the meantime, we just want to welcome you, viewers, and acknowledge you from home and wherever you are, even at work. Bangi says good evening and it's good to be back to this amazing show, and good evening to you, Bangi. Godwin Nobbers, hey, welcome back. It's nice to see you back. He says, nice to see you. Nice to see you too. Seke Kola Adener, the CEO and the founder of the amazing SoundMind that's doing some amazing things in this community, joins us today. And he says, hello, Extraordinary Achievers. I'm looking forward to a stimulating conversation. And we're looking forward to a stimulating response from you too. And Sarah Kenny, good evening to you. And thank you for joining us today. Teresa Gomez says, hi, Guan, the Guan crew. Hi, and nice to see you. And Akola says, thank you for your contribution to the community. Thank you for what you're doing, Kola. Much appreciated. And Vicky says, good evening, and good evening to you. And she says, good evening to all our guests. And she says, good evening to everyone joining the Extraordinary Achievers TV show. Melissa says, good evening, and good evening to you too. And she says she's happy to be back, and we're glad to have you. And Abiodun Eninari Paseda says, good evening, and say we're humbled to have your presence. Thank you. T. Alavi, the amazing woman that you saw on the show last week, and she, absolutely amazing. She knows the stuff, and she's beauty and brains, I call her. She says, good evening to everyone, and good evening to you. And we have His Royal Majesty, the King of the Ondo State in Nigeria, joins us today, and he says, what another sweet moment again. Thanks, Lady Wynette, for the way you lift up our spirits daily with these extraordinary guests always. His Royal Majesty, we thank you and we appreciate you joining us. Clive Biggessy, hey Han, says good evening, and good evening to you, and thank you for joining us. We welcome all your comments, we welcome your contributions, and we thank you for joining us. And we would like to urge you now to share with others, share with friends, with family, WhatsApp groups, Facebook groups. There's someone that needs to hear this. If it's not you, it's a friend, it's a family, it's a friend of a friend, it's a family of a family. There is someone that needs to hear the assistance that's out there, and that help is around the corner. We welcome Michael back on our screens as we're going to ask Michael his first question.
Yes.
Michael, can one ever be truly reformed from the life of crime?
For sure. Yeah, 100%. Because before the life of crime, we were pure. You know what I'm saying? We were pure beings. And then it's the things that we've been exposed to and the things that we've seen really shape our mindset to look at life a certain way and go down a certain path. So there's always, you can always contact the root. So as long as that root's still there, you can go back to that pureness. And that's how reform really takes place, for sure.
Thank you for that, Michael. Michael, what processes are required to be in place to allow this transition of someone being truly reformed or going through some sort of reforming in their lives? What needs to be in process?
I feel like from my experience, it's, we need more people within the prison system that what the majority demographic looks like can identify with, what everybody looks like can identify with. I'm trying to say you need to be able to identify with the person that's trying to support you or trying to rehabilitate you. And I say that because through my experience, through doing the work I do in prisons, I was able to connect with the heart, with the center of the heart. I was able to connect with the heart of the prison and those people within the prison. And I'm telling you, when I used to walk through the jail, walk through the wings, brothers that look just like me will look at me and their eyes will light up. I'll see a luster, something shining within their eye, it light up. And then when we speak, it's peace, you know? And I also came across, you know, guys that their eyes didn't light up and they put their backs up and their head up and their face straightened, you know what I mean? But when I approached them and I showed them it was love and I'm here just to support and grow with you, that just disappeared. It eroded, you know what I'm saying? So going through that's what I feel like needs to be required in the jail, is more good brothers and sisters coming from these communities that understand what you can do in order to you know, have the impact with the young people in the jails, for sure. You need to be able to identify.
Fantastic. Michael, what brought you into this work? Where did you find a passion for this work, and what motivated you to actually decide that you wanted to work with individuals that were going through some challenges in their lives in such a manner?
You know, I always get asked that question, and I always say, like, life is my experience. I've learned everything through life. So maybe subconsciously I made decisions and consciously, but I feel like I just flowed with how my life was flowing, and it led me into these paths. It was so, because it's always something I've always done. It's always something my friends have done. We've always learned together. We've always taught each other things. You know what I'm trying to say? So I just flowed naturally into this position, and it's brought me here speaking to you and doing the work that I do. I don't think there was any actual particular time where it's like, okay, this is what I want to do. It's just flowing, and I'm continuing to flow.
Thank you, Michael. Michael, we will have you back on our screens shortly. In the meantime, we are going to welcome Gwenton Dennis Slowly, a British politician and the CEO of Crying Sons. Gwenton, we welcome you onto our screens. Good evening, Gwenton. Gwenton, at the moment you are muted. Can you hear me? Your line is still muted. Okay, we will be back with you, Gwenton, shortly, and so we can hear from you. In the meantime, we are going to acknowledge some of our viewers at home. Holly says, good evening, an amazing topic this evening, and good evening to you, Holly, and thank you. And Tani says, hello, Lady Wynette, and good to be back, and we're excited on having you back on the show. Sunbeam says, good evening, everyone tuning in from Southeast London. And hey, how's South? Is it as hot as everywhere else? And Patricia Bailey, amazing Patricia Bailey, says, good evening all, and good evening to you, and thank you for the work you're doing in the community. And Edith says, good evening, and good evening to you. And she says, a voice to the voiceless in the community. Super appreciate you and thank you for the encouragement. And Toyin says, hi everyone, and hey Toyin, nice to have you on the show. And Rosalind says, good evening, and good evening to you. And Tia Labi says, you're so right. When I worked in Belmarsh, there were many Black people inside, and they do appreciate getting support from people who look like them. And good on you guys. And Elizabeth Page says, good evening, and good evening to you. An amazing and timely topic for this season. We thank you for your acknowledgement and encouragement. And Princess Peace Twinny, good evening, my beloved Twinny. And she says, go girl, I'm glad to join tonight and so excited that Twinny, you join us today. Patricia says, good evening, a very interesting topic. And thank you once again. Sherry Ann Dixon, all the way from the seas. She says, good afternoon, good evening. I'm so loving this show, and we super appreciate you being on the show. We are going to go back to Gwenton and see if we have Gwenton back on our screens. And production team says, not as yet. So we are now going to go to Mary. And Mary, we welcome you back onto our screens.
Good evening.
Thank
Good
you.
evening.
Good evening again. Good evening. Mary, thank you for taking time out, reaching out, and offering to be a voice for the mothers. Earlier in our conversation, you expressed your experience that you've had with the system. You also shared the experience of your two sons being in prison. Can you tell our viewers, where do you think this all starts from? What's that crucial age of a child? What can happen to a child that exposes them to the streets?
I believe that I'm a mother of two boys, 25 and 26 currently now. I'm a single parent. I was bringing them up single-handedly. I had two jobs, and I think it was at the point of about maybe 14, 15, around that age, where I left them on their own. They were kind of too old to be babysat, but kind of in that middle. And I did check to see whether it was legal for me to leave them, and it was fine, whilst they're responsible, and they're totally responsible. But leaving them on their own, whilst I jumped from one job straight to the other twice a week, they wouldn't see me. Dinner would be in the microwave. Make sure you've done your homework, and that. So I think it was at that age where I wasn't present, and the environment that we were in was able to have an impression on their lives.
Thank you. Mary, we also talked about your son getting expelled from school and then being put into a PRU. What was that process like?
It was horrific. It was horrific. It was extremely traumatic. I fought with the local authority at every single level, at every single stage. And I lost to a system that was set against our children from the outset. A brief overview of what took place. My son's is extremely charismatic. He's very charming. He's very handsome and everything. And a fight broke out with his best friend. And he never really gets into trouble. And he's just a bit, ladies' man type thing. So that's kind of his character. So somebody had given him a hammer. He went round to the DT department and somebody had given him a hammer. He had the hammer in his hand and he had gone to the place where the fight had been taking place. By this time it had dispersed. But he was seen by a number of students, not on CCTV camera, but by a number of students with the hammer in his hand. And it was with that information that the head had permanently excluded him for having a weapon. I fought it. I went to the appeal to the local authority and they upheld the exclusion. I begged them not to send him to school to a unit in South London, one of the worst areas in Brixton. I found a unit that was run by a Black organisation, and it would have benefited him because it was in the environment where they was able to grow and have identification with people like themselves, and it was perfect. So I begged them to transfer the funding to that place, but again, my voice fell to the ground, and my son then ended up, and he was a top student. He chose his subject. He was fantastic in history. He's played the violin. He plays the recorder. He was spitting bars at the time. They were all into the whole spitting bars thing. So he was quite creative. So he was doing exceptionally well, particularly in the subject that he loved, which he was in top sets for history. He was in top sets for English. Wasn't that top sets for maths, but he was doing really, really well. When he went into the unit, that's when everything went.
I've often shared with many mothers and many fathers my concerns about children. As soon as they're expelled, there always seems to be a one-way street that they actually go down from. It's from that being expelled from school. It almost seems as though there's not much purpose for them in some cases. And please not mothers and fathers at home, uncles and aunties. I'm not saying every child that's ever been expelled has ended up in jail or crime or anything. We're talking about the percentage. I have a group called Reclaiming Our Children Back from the Streets. And with the organization that we created as a family, we created that and worked together with Reclaiming Our Children Back from the Streets. In my personal experience, once children are expelled from school, they meet other children that are expelled from school, and other children that have been expelled from school, some of them are on the road. And it's a fact. And if a child wasn't exposed to the road, he surely will be exposed to the road then, because that becomes his new environment. That becomes his new world. That becomes his new gang. That becomes his new crew. Those become his new friends. And I think it's something that we really need to look at. The number of expulsions that we have in this country, all the processes, are they being done before they expel a child from school? Individuals like Michael, let's welcome you back to ask you this question.
Good.
Fantastic. Michael, with your organizations, have you thought about going into schools and actually assisting with the children that probably are on that borderline of expulsion?
Yeah, that's something we do. That's something we've done. Yeah, we're trying to continue to do that because we know school is the root. School is the root. So really showing our young people the signs, but not also the signs. It's about showing our young people how great and how special they are and how boundless they can be in spiritual, physical, and oral energy. You know what I'm trying to say? If we start installing that right back in the schools, nothing is ever going to keep them down. It might knock you, but it's not going to keep you down, because now you know you're going to rise up and you're going to continue to rise because you can be all that you can be. You know what I'm saying? So school is essential because this is when the ears are open, the eyes are sharp, the eyes can see further. So whilst our young people in that state of mind, we install them in nothing but love and greatness, and that's when they'll see the oneness.
Thank you, Michael. Michael, what do you think as parents and as a community that we can do for children so that we are having a proactive way rather than a reactive? So we're not just being reactive to situations, but we're actually being proactive before children get into the stage of being arrested or going to jail. What do you think as a community that we can do, in your eyes?
We can communicate more. We can speak. We can listen. We can learn. We can be universal students and teachers, and that's how we grow together. And I always think everything starts with communication, and communication isn't just verbally. It's an energy. It's an energy that we pick up from young. You know what I'm trying to say? Like we don't show our children enough how to just be free within themselves and be present at every moment. So we communicate and we start showing them that so they can see that through us, because we are the teachers. You know what I'm saying? Unless we do that, then nothing will follow on from that. Communication is key, and it has to be communication with peace, love, and a willingness to grow together.
Fantastic. So communication is key, and we need to grow with the children. Michael, we thank you, and we thank our viewers at home. We thank you for being a guest on the show, and we'll be back with you shortly. We thank you at home. We thank you for sharing. We thank you for participating. We thank you for commenting. And just to let you know, do not be discouraged by the number you see on your screens. You're not the only individuals watching. We use an outside streaming channel. Therefore, the correct number of viewers is only shown after the show has been live. We want to say thank you to the YouTube viewers. We would like to say thank you to the LinkedIn viewers, the Meetup viewers, the Twitter viewers, and all the viewers from our website. The numbers are going up. We thank you. If you're viewing from my personal page, welcome. If you're viewing from the Extraordinary Achievers page, welcome. And if you're viewing from all the other Facebook platforms that we air live on, we want to thank the admins of those groups that allow us to air live on their pages. And we welcome your comments. We welcome anything that you want to post through to the mother that joins us today, and also to Michael that joins us. We're still waiting for Gwenton to join us. His internet is playing up with him at the moment, but as we know, things happen, but fingers crossed, he will join us real soon. Mary, we have a couple of questions for you as a mother that is going through having her children in prison. You have 2 sons. Can you tell us, and can we talk about the process that as a mother, what you go through? When we were talking earlier, you broke down. And it was painful to hear the tears, to hear the sadness that you went, of what you're going through. We agreed earlier that unless you've walked that journey, you've been in that journey, no one can ever understand your pain. No one can ever understand what you're going through. But can you please tell us, what is it like when police raid your house in the middle of the night or early in the morning, and you're in your bed, and all of a sudden the police storm the house and ransack your house and take away privacy? What is it like?
It's an absolute violation of your privacy, your rights as a human being to your home. Someone's broken into your home and just stormed through your house, disrespected your house. It's happened a few times, and I think because of the experiences that I have had, the trauma has kind of shut down, and that's what happened when I'm understanding myself that when I go through traumatic experiences, my brain just shuts down, and I remember bits and pieces of what happened at the event, but not very much. I can't remember times and dates and that. I remember the time because I'd fallen asleep on the sofa. This was one of the times when the police just stormed into my house, and so where I live, it's quite safe. So my boys often left the back door and the back gate open. I've got a house where you can come in to the back door and the back gate from the ground floor. So they would often come in and out from the back gate. So they left that open. And 6 o'clock in the morning, these people came with helmets. They burst into my house. I was sleeping on the sofa. I'd fallen asleep. And before I knew it, the man was before me on the chair. You know, like I'd taken took the phone. The phone was beside me. I'd taken the phone, so I couldn't do anything. They'd gone. I said, there must have been about 15 of them. I don't know how much it was. And I was just like this. I couldn't stop shaking. I couldn't speak because I was shocked. I'd just woken up out of my sleep, and this man in a helmet was beside me, you know, with like riot gear on. That was one of the occasions. So they'd taken my son at that point as well. But the violation is heavy because you feel your house is dirty, you want to clean it, and I'm a little OCD, and just to fumigate the house so that you've got your home back to you. That in and of itself, I felt like I just didn't want to be here. That was one of the occasions. Then another occasion happened. They'd come in again, they came, search the rooms and everything, and then I said, you know, they didn't really have a right to search my room because they came with the intention to search my son's room. And then they came in, the woman came to my bedroom door, and I looked at her, she looked at me, and then she just turned away and left my bedroom alone. I thought, you know what, just don't go there. You know, like, this is my space. You came to search my son's room, search his room. You've got no right to come into my space. So your home has been violated. You don't feel safe. And again, every time I hear a siren for months afterwards, I'd just be I'd be feeling, oh my God, are they stopping me? Are they going to stop me? Are they coming for me? You know, you start to get, it's awful. You have to go through all of these processes just to normalize yourself back into society, because your equilibrium has been traumatized, has been shaken to its core, and you have to pull those pieces back together somehow and live a normal life after this major violation. So it was very traumatic, extremely traumatic.
We feel that. We feel the pain. We feel the pain. We don't understand your pain, but we feel the pain. Mary, so now you've had the violation of your home. You were sad. You're upset. You probably have all the feelings of, you feel guilty that this is happening. You are sad for your sons, and you're going through all these emotions that you're going through. You're going through fear. Tell us, what does the community do? What does the society do? Family, friends, neighbors, how do they then treat you? How do they look at you? How do they make you feel?
You feel shame, you feel guilt, you feel humiliation, you feel embarrassment, you feel that it's your fault. You know, you're the one to blame. Am I a bad parent? You know, what did I do wrong? What could I have done differently? You know, you ask yourself 1,000,001 questions, and you absolutely crucify yourself. Because, you know, whenever you hear anything on the news or whatever, they always like, okay, it's not the child's fault, it's the parents' fault. Let's blame the parents. So I took it all. What did I do wrong? It's because I had the 2 jobs, wasn't it? Because I left them on their own. You know, there was no one to look after them. They had to look after themselves. You know, it was at that point there was a gap. And, you know, they could tell me one thing. I could call them on the house phone. That time I purposely used the house phone so they would pick it up. You're at home, good, fine. Have your dinner, make sure you do your homework, bed. I wasn't home until 2-3 o'clock in the morning the next day, so I wouldn't see them twice a week. So that was a big thing for me. I have to work, and because I'm out at work, the system's taken advantage of my children. It was awful. And my family, none of my family have gone through what I've gone through. I've got 2 younger sisters and an older brother. My brother's just recently passed away, so I'm like that. I'm the oldest in the family now. My 2 younger sisters, their children are fantastic. They're all gone to university, or on their way. The last one's on their way to university. You know, textbook kids, all doing fantastically. And I look at me now, the oldest one, and the pity them that I've got. The 2 of them gone to jail. You know, like, what example? And I'm born again. I'm the only one that's, you know, that's loving the Lord. Look at what kind of example is that as a Christian mother? You know, all of this stuff was just plaguing my head. And I had to just learn to release that. I had to receive my own healing, spiritual healing through prayer and counseling, through just not even counseling, but just through the word of God and just talking to trusted people that you thought were trusted. So you even get judgmental things from certain leaders within the community. So who can you trust? Who can you tell your business to without being judged? So you keep it to yourself, you internalize a lot of stuff. And those are the things that really begin to eat away and gnaw away. So unless you, then those things can kind of do stuff to your head. And I thank God for the grace of God and for the helmet of salvation, and just for the fact that I'm a praying woman, and that I put myself in circles intentionally. I don't have to talk my business, because obviously when you're in certain circles, people are always, you know, people like to chat and whatever. So I keep my business to myself, but I release those things in the corporate atmosphere to God, and receive, you know, healing, receive what I need from God Almighty directly. And that's where a lot of my help came from, you know, to keep me in sound mind, to carry me through the really, really dark times in my life. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Mary. If you have just joined us, on our screens was Mary Reid with her Instagram handle name of Mary Millie1. She is the founder of Mindset Reset. I was just asking her about how the community, how family and friends, and how others tend to judge, and how she's sometimes made to feel. Because it's so easy to judge, it's so easy to read, it is the parents' fault. Mary is a great example. She has her voice of greatness. She has a program, Mindset Reset. She believes in positivity. She believes in the Lord. And she raised her sons in a loving home, grounded in the Lord, intelligent, respectful. However, they were enticed by the streets, with all the streets' finery. Next time, before we judge, let's take time to feel how others feel when we think for them, about them. Not every child is coming from a home that is disturbed. And let's take time to think about how mothers like Mary feel. Let's take time to think about how fathers feel. Let's take time to think about how others feel before we judge where they're at. Instead, let's see how we can help. And talking about help, let us introduce you to Gwenton. Gwenton, are you back on our screens?
Could you hear me this time?
Oh,
could you hear me?
Perfectly well, Gwenton. Gwenton, thank you for joining us, and we appreciate that we had that little pause there, but you are back just right in time. Gwenton Danisoli is a British politician and the CEO of Crying Sons. Gwenton has worked in the housing sector as a specialist in relation to the housing of ex-offenders, vulnerable young people and their families for over 10 years. During this time, he became involved with the professional development of professionals in related sectors through his training and books. He has made a point of remaining rooted in the communities he serves, which he believes have greatly contributed to his work. Gwenton is recognized as having saved more lives than any other individual working in the violence sector in over 10 years. The Home Office described him as amazing achievements in monetary terms by stating that he saved the state an approximately 42.5 million. He has saved at least 2 lives in a year, and the cost of investigating a murder is at least 1.7 million. It works out to approximately 4 lives a year over that period. They are only deemed to be at risk of proven murder attempt, which has taken place, and Gwenton is there to keep record of what is going out with intelligence that he gets out there from prior convictions, from sources, from all kind of information base that he relates to and he uses passionately. He does not deliver this service on a 9-to-5 basis, because we know the street never sleeps. As a consequence, he's often in the homes of frightened families in the early hours of the morning, reassuring frightened mothers and siblings that they will be taken to a safe place where they'll be able to sleep at night and step out of their front door without fear. Gwenton continues to reach out to more. And if you'd like Gwenton's assistance, his website details, contact details will be coming up on our screens shortly. Gwenton, we thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and joining us here. So Gwenton, we have a series of questions for you that we are going to ask you to give us, please, a snapshot view of how your experience shapes your thinking. Can anyone ever be truly reformed from the life of crime?
Is that the first question?
It is indeed.
Okay. First thing, we're going to revisit what my honourable friend said earlier. Yes, you can. But before we accept the term ex-offender, we have to make some corrections. And the corrections is this. If the system fails a young person at first, that young person is not able to navigate their way out of the system, first and foremost, to be become an offender in the first place. So the school and the parents or carers need to take responsibility, and the environment as well, because as we just heard there from a mum, she was doing the best she could. Her son still ended up in prison. Are we then meant to blame her for trying to provide? No, we're not. And sometimes we forget that the environment has a stronger hold on people than maybe even religion or their family members. So someone makes a mistake as a child, they're then called for the rest of their life, no matter what they do, an ex-offender. And that's something, a narrative that I'm currently trying to change, because there's other people out there that might run the red light, they might not pay their council tax or something like that. That's all a crime. And even if you go to the county court, that's still committing a crime. The difference is no one's going to look at you as an ex-offender when you are going down to the county court because the bailiffs have come to your house. So I think that narrative and that stigma needs to be weighed up. When does it come a time when you stop referring to somebody as an ex-offender or your past? Let's move forward and look at someone's credentials and archives of what they've achieved, and stop labeling them for the one mistake that they've made. So that's a narrative that me myself, I refuse to engage in, that ex-offender stuff. I look at everyone as equal, and if we continue bringing up something that someone's already paid the price for, is as if you've got a life sentence for something that you've already been incarcerated for. So I do believe people can change, some people, and the only way that someone can change is once they overcome that addiction. Everything's an addiction. So whether you're selling drugs, it's an addiction. Whether you're shooting someone in the street, after a while it becomes an addiction. You're stabbing someone, they don't die. You get addicted to it. You nearly kill someone, you get a bigger bus, they survive. You get addicted to that. We've got drug dealers in jail for killing people, but the grassroots issue that they had were drug dealing. So they could go to prison for 20 or 30 years. There's no courses within the prison system that's going to address their grassroots issues. So what we're going to have is people coming out of prison after 20 years, but their issue that was driving them to commit crime has never been addressed. So a lot of the time, people have to put themselves in the way of temptation to see if they themselves have overcome. A lot of people get it confused that once someone's been incarcerated and they come out, that they've changed. A lot of people don't know if they've changed because they've never put themselves back in that environment to see if they will be able to withdraw themselves from it.
Thank you. Thank you, Gwenton. Gwenton, what about the mental well-being and mental attitude of someone that has been incarcerated before? How is that taken care of after they come out of and serve their time in prison?
A lot of the time, unless you go and find your own therapeutic help, there is little or none, if any, support that will come from, if you're at the youth offending service, that's up to 18 years old. Sometimes when you're going through the transition, the youth offending service will hang on to the case and wait till that process is then transferred to the probation. And you might be lucky because of the yacht's involvement to get some talking therapy or other therapeutic help. When it comes to probation and other statutory bodies, a lot of them are not going to offer you therapeutic support. And that is the sad part of coming out of prison and trying to rehabilitate yourself from the addiction of crime, whether it be driven by substances or just the natural addiction of that rush. There's not a lot of therapeutic help, but it's about prioritizing your well-being. And that's something that in the community we need to push, where people put some money aside for their well-being. So the same thing, you will take yourself to a restaurant, go and see a counselor. If you smoke or drink that bottle of drink or the pack of cigarettes, or if you've gone even more addicted to other substances, try and take a break from those substances and use that money as a supplementary to provide therapeutic help for yourself. And we're not just talking about seeing a counselor, we're talking about you could go swimming, take yourself for a walk, and just sit in the park and lie down and look at the sky. That is therapeutic. Just being one with yourself. Leave all your electronics at home and just go for a walk. Because a lot of the time people are addicted to their electronics. So there's different means of providing therapy where you could become one with self. And I think even having the lockdown recently, the benefits of that was a lot of people got to know themselves because the distractions that were normally there were stripped away. So you had no choice but to become one with self. So I would always emphasize and push, because all my staff is mandatory that they have clinical supervision and we have access to a therapist on board because of the amount of toxic things that we're taking in on a daily basis. I make sure that all my staff have that. And I think even if you're not working for someone, you need to go and make sure that once you finish a prison sentence, being locked up in a box, at the point where all you're smelling is concrete for years, depending how long you've been in there, and mentally training your brain not to go the other side where you might not be able to come back from is a task within itself, depending on how long you had in prison. And these are things that a lot of people might not overcome. The smell of the jail, the jingling of the keys, it's the doors locking, and all of that hyper stuff. It takes a while to get out of your system. So it's like having a detox. So a lot of people come out of prison, and because the probation or whatever services they're engaging with are not offering the service, they continue thinking that they're okay. But I will always recommend getting yourself some private therapy.
Okay, so it becomes up to the individual for them to find the private therapy that they require. But there's no organizations out there at the moment that is providing that therapy of that mental health and well-being.
As I said, there are therapy. There's amazing teams out there that do that. But a lot of the time it comes with a cost. And you have to get a referral from another statutory body, and then they will then cover the cost. Or you might be lucky to have a charity that might give you a few sessions, maybe up to 6. If you get 10, then you're lucky. So there are organizations out there. For the young people, I know they've got an organization called KOOTH, KOOTH, that actually supports a lot of that. And we've also got Mind doing a lot of work in the community alongside of organizations. You understand? So it's about making sure that you research yourself and don't wait for people to allocate services to you. You have to go out there and search for the help that you need.
Thank you. Gwenton, what services are offered at the moment in prison?
In prison, it depends on what you've gone into prison for. So if you've gone into prison for a violent crime, they will give you enhanced thinking skills. A lot of it is basic level stuff. If you're someone that is well read or already trained within the mind, you will be able to pass every single test that they give you in prison. It's a basic 3 points test. And when I say 3 points, it's like red, amber, and green. And green means now you're safe to go back out in the community. So in the first week, they test you. Oh, how dangerous do you think you are? Oh, I'm very dangerous. I'll kill the world. 3 weeks in, they ask you, how dangerous do you think you are? Oh, this course is so amazing. I think I'm now learning how not to wanting to kill the world anymore. And by the time you get to the 9th or the 12th week of reading a bit of paper and everything else, you're like, oh my gosh, this course is so wonderful. I no longer want to kill anyone anymore. I am now ready to be released. I will never commit crime again. There's no evidence base in there to say that that person has actually changed. It is just for the person to then word of mouth tell you that they have now learned from the pieces of paper that you've given them, and the facilitator trying her best or his best to convince you that these indicators are going to change your life. A lot of people that are in prison are very calculated, so they've already planned their crime out. They've already weighed up the pros and cons of getting caught. So when they get caught, they've already know the 30% of me getting caught is why I'm in here. So there is no course adequate for the individuals such as those people that are calculated people. So that is just people that are in there for serious crimes. We then move on to people that are in there for drugs offenses. They're going to give you courses as if you're the person using the substances, because 9 out of 10 times people that want to lesser their sentence will then say, oh, I was also addicted to the drugs. So because of that, by default, they then put onto drugs courses to give up their addiction. I've not seen a course yet in prison or even nationally across the country to deal with drug dealers to give up their addiction of drug dealing, because a lot of the time the psychologists or these people that are training people to give up these addictions don't even understand it themselves, that it's an addiction. They think that it's a immediate gratification of wanting money why people are out there drug dealing. So a lot of the time these courses are not fit for purpose within prison for the people that are in there. And also to get on the courses is another long waiting list. So you might wait 3 or 4 years to get on one course. So if you're waiting 3 or 4 years to get on one course, you might only do 2 courses in 6 or 7 years. Before you know it, you're back out in the community because the prisons are full, or you've been behaving yourself within the prison establishment and you've come out and you haven't reformed or learned anything.
So, Quentin, are you saying that we are not having enough done in the prisons?
Definitely not. The prison system is not built for rehabilitation. It's built for preserving life and nothing else. You understand, if someone goes into prison and they don't want to change, even if they're doing 30 years, they'll come out the same person. It's about individual change. The person has to want to change, because the facilities in the prison are not built to rehabilitate anyone, unless you're in a therapeutic prison like Grendon, where they've got a whole infrastructure where the behavior culture all the way back down to the normal basic rules have to be followed for you to then leave that prison saying, yeah, I've actually learned. So if you was to ask me, out of all the prisons that you've worked in or visited over the years, and I've gone all over the country working in prisons, actually featured 2019 as best practice for the mediation program that we implemented in Soulside. And the only prison that I've actually seen that's actually adequate currently is Grendon, because of the therapeutic system that they've built in within the prisoners, as if the prisoners run the prison. So the prisoners make up the rules. The prisoners make sure that the other prisoners are following the rules. So everyone's accountable for their own actions. And a lot of people will tell you, oh, you know what, I wish I could go to Grendon, but I know that I'm not ready yet to go there. I've still got the addiction in me. The disease is still there. So until they feel that they've overcome that, then they will put in an application to go to that prison. But I've done work all the way in Park Prison with the G4S, and that is the only prison that I've seen, along with Soulside Prison, because I've done a lot of work in Soulside Prison, where they're actually going above and beyond to make sure that they're going outside of the normal prison regime to make sure people are rehabilitated.
Thank you, Quentin. Quentin, we thank you for your time, and we'll be back with you shortly. We are going to acknowledge some comments from our viewers and the audience. We thank you for your comments. We thank you for sharing. We thank you for your time this evening. Sunbeam says, the weather is very nice, thank you. I also want to honor Michael B. on a job well done. A few great men indeed he is, and we need many more. Thank you. Princess Toying says, so sad indeed to the comments from our guest earlier. And Vicky says, this is so sad to hear. Banker says, not easy for a parent to go through this. It's very sad. And I think those comments are in acknowledgement to you, Mary. And Vicky says, yes, indeed, more keywords for this issue is important, and positive mindset and be to understand one another. Mutoko Sapson, hey Doc, good evening Doc. Say, Lady W, I'm in the road, but I couldn't miss your ever revelationally show. We love you, Doc. Thank you, says, communication is the key. Thank you, Michael, for reminding us parents that communication is very important. Mutoko says, the brothers are bringing down the house. In other words, yip, yip, yip. We hear you. And Esquire Charles F. Lawson says, greetings all. It's been great listening to all the speakers this evening. And we thank you for joining us. And if you're hungry and you're in South London, Epsa Restaurant next to New Cross Gate Station, you will find Esquire Charles Lawson, who will feed you tremendously well. Patricia Bailey says, lovely lady, thank you for sharing your story. Your boys will become successful and they will make you proud. That's a message to you, Mary. And Mary, I'm sure in agreement of saying amen. Caroline Kaz Dubehe says, she says, a beautiful share, Mary. It's empowering. And Teresa says, very proud of Mary for sharing experience. She should not blame herself at all. This is how the system is failing us. Bangi says, very traumatic to go through that, Mary. And yes, we thank God you continue to find strength and healing and help with the Almighty. You are a strong mother. Princess Toyin says, well done, Mary. The system failed. You did not. And Vicky says, but are free groups and organizations, can they help the prisoners? Tia Labi says, there are some organizations offering support. They're expensive and oversubscribed. And Patricia Bailey says, very well said, Quentin. And Anish says, good evening, and good evening to you, hon. And Free the Info says, as always, another power broadcast. And we thank you for joining us. Tia Labi says, Quentin, you've been so real. The course is often run by untrained people. And this is from experience of her having to work in a prison. And Sherry Ann Dixon, my lovely mentor, my amazing mentor, she says, Quentin, you are making sense in everything you say here. Bangi says, whatever you feed grows stronger. Whatever you don't feed dies. If you free yourself and forgive yourself, you become a better person. That's when rehabilitation starts. Jason Edward, Father's Rights, and welcome onto the show, says, better late than never, amazing facts being spoken. Thank you for taking time out and joining us. Princess Twin says, oh, wow, I didn't know all this. Thank you for sharing, Quentin. Yes, powerful information. Reverend Ebenezer says, very insightful. And Reverend, thank you for joining us and thank you for being an amazing guest last week on the show. Hello, Han, and hello to you. And she says, to wonderful Quentin, hello too. Councillor Fumi says, I know Quentin, great community activist of all full action. Princess Toyin says, but when they're back in the society, they have problems in gaining good employment. They get judged by their past conviction. My job was human resources, and I can say for a fact that factors affect the ex-convicts. Adepeju says, thank you, Quentin and Michael, for your contributions. Adepeju goes on to say, Mary, thank you for sharing your story and experience as a mother. We would like to thank you for all your comments, for your contributions, for your love and care, and for thanking our guests. Our guests are amazing, and they've taken time out to share their experience as they continue their work on the streets. And Mary joins us as a mother and a voice from a mother. We are going to welcome back Michael onto our screens. And Michael, you work in prisons.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In your work in prisons, Michael, and in your capacity of having to have worked as far as working in Belmarsh, do you agree that we do not have enough services like yours in prison?
Yeah, 100%. We need more representation. it's not even just representation. We just need more people with good hearts. People, but when I say good hearts, hearts that's been tested, hearts that's felt pain, hearts that's recovered from pain. You know, I'm trying to say hearts that's felt love, hearts that desire joy. We need more of those hearts going into these establishments and really connecting with the people. And, you know, a lot of work that goes on within prisons go unsung and unheard because it's a closed off environment. But what I was able to do, what we was able to build within Belmarsh, and I say we because it wasn't just myself, it's the brothers that I was connecting with on a daily basis. What we were able to build within prison was a space where people felt free. People took off their masks. People were able to express their vulnerability. People were able to share their pain, share what they love. Because sometimes a lot of us, we hide from the world the true things we love. We can show our family, we can show our friends, but there's other things that we love. And I was able to see people sharing that amongst each other. And from that, everybody was growing. I've done a 2-week course in there, and you know, we went on a journey. We went on a journey of self. We went on a journey of discovering you. And when I say you is your own universe. And that's what we need to always refer back to and reflect on is ourselves. When our brothers are in jail, they have the opportunity. What they have is time, right? A lot of us, I'm striving for time every day. Time to get the balance, time to spend with my son more, time to be a better boyfriend, time to work harder. I'm always running for time. But when brothers are in jail, they've got time to think. They've got time to reflect internally, you know what I'm saying? And really ask themselves questions that they probably ran away from. But in order to do that, they have to become revolutionary within their mind, because it's a place where prison's a place where negativity runs in its extremes, you know, and it's easy to feed back into what you already know, what the brothers already been conditioned to think. So the course that we built was able to really express all of that and put that energy in that room and walk out of that room lighter. And I know so many good brothers and sisters that hold that torch, that hold that heart, that cares, you know what I'm saying? So the more brothers and sisters and all people come in, the jail and the communities will be in such a more delightful place. It will no longer be somber, you know what I'm saying? Because we put in our pure, unconditional love into the jail. So man, change is possible. I believe in it. You know, I believe in it, man. I believe in it.
So Michael, what I got from there is that the best work in prisons has to come with people that have individuals that have passion and love for people, have passion for that work, and are really geared up on change. If you have just joined us, we are listening to Michael Bill. He's the founder of A Few Great Men. He has conducted workshops in London prisons and runs projects in schools and communities. He also featured on the ITV's Welcome to HMP Belmarsh with Ross Kemp. And we thank him so much for joining us this evening. Michael, what breaks your heart when you're in prison and working with individuals that are incarcerated?
What breaks my heart? You know, I never really tried to. I always have to go on that journey with my heart to see what my heart can take, to see how my heart's operating. And you just asked me that question. What breaks my heart is hearing Mary speak pain, hearing Mary speak pain. But also what gives me, I always look for the positive within the negative. I always look for the light within the dark. I know that pain that Mary spoke and what Mary's feeling, if her sons can really feel that, because they will feel that 10 times more than me, because they know the story. So if they can really feel that pain, but then look at Mary's determination and her strength and learn from that determination and that strength, they're going to look in their mirror and know that they contain that plus more. You know what I'm trying to say? So even though that hurts my heart, I know sometimes your heart needs to hurt in order for things to heal and blossom. You know what I'm saying? So those are the things that break my heart. And just knowing that brothers, sisters are lost lives, mothers, fathers are crying, communities are crying, people are worried. People are worried, but I tell everyone this now, this is a small section, because so many of our young people, because it's always a conversation about young people, are are living to their fullest. They're becoming boundless within their spiritual and physical energy. And we all always need to sprinkle that light on things. You know, I'm trying to say to it, we got light. There's light within the darkness. There always is. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man.
Michael, thank you, the founder of A Few Great Men. Michael, anyone that's watching the show, to those that are going to watch the show afterwards on the replay, how can they support what you're doing?
Just support with, you know, just listening more, learning more, understanding more, understanding more, overstanding more, and communicating more and judging less. You know what I'm trying to say? With all things and all people. That's how we get back to that oneness. You know what I'm saying? That's how we grow. And one of the things I say is we're building a new community through our common unity. And our common unity is peace, love, and growth. And when you got peace, love, and growth, we're able to raise up our environments, our thoughts, our words, and our existence. And that's what myself, and that's what A Few Great Men and A Few Great Women, beautiful men represent, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we can help just push the love out. And if we are meant to connect on a real level, we'll connect because the universe will direct us in that way, and we'll connect on a physical level. You know what I'm saying? So just keep pushing that love, find that love within you, within your universe, find that love, find that light, find that greatness, and share it with the world, man. Share it with the world. Share it with the world.
Michael Bill, the founder of A Few Great Men, we thank you. We have your Instagram page coming up onto our screens. And if you'd like to join the movement, if you'd like to support Michael, his email address came up a few times onto the screen, but also you can find him on Instagram. And we are going to put back up on our screens the Instagram, A Few Great Men _. Please follow them, follow their work, support their work, volunteer maybe. Ask him, Michael, what does he need? But you heard what Michael said. Michael said, judge less, love more. Judge less and love more. Michael, we would like to thank you for joining us on the Extraordinary Achievers Show today. And we thank you for your time and thank you for the great work that you are doing. You are certainly a great man. And I know that many speak of your great work, and you are highly and truly appreciated. I appreciate you. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. We are going to welcome back Mary onto our screens. Mary, thank you for being patient and thank you for joining us. Thank you for opening up your heart. You have represented a million mothers today. You've represented mothers that thought that they were voiceless. You have represented mothers that felt that they are judged and they're on their own. Many mothers feel that every day. Many mothers go through that every day. But you have stood up to say, I want to tell my story, because you know that the change is coming. You raised your sons to be great men, and so they shall be great men. And we pray with you. We stand with you. What message would you like to give other mothers out there today?
It feels as if sometimes that you're out there on your own and you're powerless to do anything. But I want to say that, you know, and again, it's just like with Michael and I connected. My son, my baby's coming out tomorrow, and I'm super excited about that. Again, I'm listening to you guys. I'm going to have to connect with you guys after the show because I want to be the best mum I can be to support my son, to rehabilitate him back. You know, I know about the clinking and all of that, you know, so I really need your help to kind of get him back in, and then for him to pull others out, because there's a call of God on both of my sons' lives. So for me, I want to connect with other women. I want to connect with other women that are silent, that feel the shame, that can't reach out to somebody that has walked in their shoes, you know, that has been where I've been, when we have to go in and visit them in that prison. It's another violation. It's another humiliation. You're stripped together. You're made to feel like you're a prisoner as well, because everything's taken. You go in, you can't carry anything with you. You're searched, you're watched. It's horrendous. The whole process, even a visit, is traumatic. So I want to say just to other women that I am, God gave me this vision about being mindset reset. And mindset reset is basically that we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts in our head every day. 80% of those thoughts are negative. 95% of those thoughts are repetitive. So we've got repetitive, negative, and all of those thoughts running around in our head. So we have already got a battle going on. When you're incarcerated on top of that, where are you going with your thoughts? Where are you going with your mindset? And so one of the things that God has just laid on my heart, I've just started to go live on Facebook, and people have been responding to it. He's given me the name and everything. And I've been feeding my sons in the prison. I've been feeding them all the mindset things that I've learned, that's helped me, that's grounded me. I've been feeding them. I speak to them, tonight, earlier on this evening, we have a 3-way call. God has blessed us to have a 3-way call with the two of them. They can, because they're very close, they speak to each other. And so for them to be able to talk to each other on a regular basis through me, I say what I need to say for a little bit, and then they talk for themselves. So the last call happened today. My baby's being released in the morning, and one down, one to go. But the help that we need each other. We need to not be silent. As mothers, we need to not suffer in silence. And there's this whole rhetoric within our community, particularly the Black community, where, it's supposed that the allegedly it takes a village to raise a child. Well, where's the village? And the pit of them are scattered. There's so many of them. There's a disproportionate amount of young Black boys that are incarcerated in the system. The system is unjust. I'm about to fight even when they're in there. I sent my son a book, Think and Grow Rich. The screws have stolen it. I'm going to fight it, because then I'm going to bring back my picnic book. Right? Them seen me picnic book. I sent 2 Les Brown books to my son when he was in Elmley, and they stole those books. So now they're trying to steal this other book. I said, no, I'm not having it. Right? You've been able to send back my picnic, this book. Right? Because these books are helping. These books are helping them, because the system's not helping them. I'm helping them. I'm rehabilitating them. I'm speaking live to them. I'm doing mindset things on the phone to them. I'm letting them listen to Coach Payne and Eric Thomas and Les Brown and Oprah Winfrey. I'm doing all those things. Me. So we need filling up. We need support. We need each other. So as other mothers, I'm reaching out to other mothers out there. Don't be silent. Don't suffer in silence, because this thing could send you off your head, because you feel powerless to help. You feel powerless that the system everything is stacked against you. Like I said already, fighting for a book, that's his property. They have no right to steal those things that belong to him. How dare you? So, we need each other. We need to help each other. We need to support each other. We need to hold each other's hand. We need to hold each other up. Just like Moses, when he was feeling weak, they held him up. Other leaders held him up. We need to hold each other up, because we need each other as a community. We need each other to pull together so that we can be strong for each other, so that we can be stronger for our children.
Mary Reid, thank you. We've just heard from Mary Reid. Her Instagram handle name is Mary Amelie 1, and she's a founder of a Mindset Reset. Mary came today to share her experience as a mother with 2 sons that are in prison. Her feelings of from when the house is raided to when there's a search in the house, to going to court, to being sentenced, to being in the community, to being that mother that is there praying for her sons each and every day, praying that they don't go back in again. And then when it happens, it shatters her life again. We've learned from Mary's story that we should not judge. We should not be so quick to judge. Mary is a voice and a representation of many other mothers that have either gone through this, are going through it, and I do not wish it on anyone, but could go through it. Do not judge. Be there to help. Michael earlier said, learn to love more than you judge. And Mary said, exactly the same thing. If you're a mother, you're a sister, you're a father, you're an individual that has either gone through their child being incarcerated, or you're going through a court case, or your child is on the road, and you want to speak to other mothers, you want the voices of other mothers. Mary and I have agreed that we will work together to form something for mothers in the UK, because there's nothing for mothers. Please do join us on that journey. It's exciting to come on the show and we talk and we listen and we share. But what do we do after the show? We don't want it just to be a talk show. We want it to be an action show. Please join us. We look forward to you joining that team. Let's help someone else out there. Not every mother is as strong as Mary. Not every woman out there is as strong as her. Not every father, not every man out there is as strong as that. Someone is going through something that we don't know, but they're ashamed to talk about it. Let's see what we can do. However, let's remember there's Michael, a few great men. There's Gwenton, crying sons. There are organizations like Paul Mackenzie. There are other organizations like Father to Father by Courtney Brown. There are organizations that are out there that are ready to help. Let's reach out to them. Let's see how we can help. And at that note, we are going to welcome back onto our screens Gwenton. Gwenton, you have been an amazing pillar in the community. We appreciate you for all your work and we welcome you back onto our screens. Thank you, Gwenton. Gwenton, how can we help what you're doing? How can we be part of what you're doing? Is there anything as a community that we can do?
The first thing is this: we have to listen. Not only listen to the young people when they're crying out for help, but also ask for help, because I'm going to say this and a lot of people might not like it. Some people have got some sleeping killers in their house. They know they've got killers in their house. This week we've lost so many young people that have unfortunately got themselves caught up in the disease of this culture and have lost their lives. It's not only the ones that have died, but also the family now that have to go and visit their sons at the Old Bailey and all of that, when a lot of the time it was the structures within the local authority that failed these young people. As family members and community members, it spells come with unity. You understand? That's what it means. So we have to become the community that we want to see. A lot of the time, people might not see the work behind the scenes because not everyone likes to post and write down everything they do. So when a lot of people think, oh, I'm busier than everyone else, it's not a competition. I've been here a very long time and seen many people come and burn themselves out. Let's stop trying to have a race with each other and put the egos aside. What is for you is for you. And the main thing is that you stick to whatever you're good at. Because this is another problem what I see in the community, where people get up one day and then they want to be activists, or they want to be gangs work, or they want to be a mentor, and before you know it, they burn themselves out. Stick to what you could do. Don't just do this for the money, because there's not a lot of money out here. And understand that this thing here, if it's not from the heart, you're going to make yourself sick and you're going to make yourself unwell. And a lot of the mothers, like Mary, are not strong enough after the beating and battering they've had from the local authority or family members pointing the finger at them, or even their own faith group where they've gone to pray. They're frightened to ask for help within their own place where they're praying. So we need to support each other and don't judge no one. If someone come and tell you know what, this is what's happening, keep that between you and the person. Because a lot of the time, the reason why people don't ask for help is because they're afraid of their information being shared, or being judged. None of us are here to judge each other. Yeah, not all of us are built the same. And it's not always about money. A lot of the time people just want to talk. I get people ringing me all week long or sending me voice notes. Gwen, and what about this? Oh, could you help with that? And sometimes it's just a simple process, like telling someone, wait a minute, do you know what your MP's meant to do for you? Do you know what your councillor's meant to do for you? Do you know you can contact the mayor? You know that you can contact the newspapers if the mayor, the MP and the councillor are not playing ball. And then, you know, you can directly email the commissioner of police if you're not happy. A lot of people don't know that. Get yourself a lawyer. A lot of time people respond differently to a lawyer than you as a civilian. And it's those simple strategies that we have to empower the community with. Don't go to meetings by yourself. Carry a pen and paper, even if you can't spell properly or read properly, scribble things down that only you know. And when you leave the meeting, they've got a little button that looks like a microphone on most phones now. Just speak into it, it will spell the words for you. Empower each other. Set up an email address. That's the most powerful thing you could have access to, is an email address. Most of us have got smartphones, so start using your email address. Yeah. So moving forward, everything we do now, we have to operate in a professional capacity. Enough of the shouting, enough of the marching and pointing finger. Let's do for self. And if you don't know something, ask someone else. And if you're sharing something with someone, you don't need to take a picture of them and put it on social media and humiliate people or make them not want to ask a question again. Not everything we need to publicize. So if I'm going to end on a point, what could everyone do for me as a community? Don't publicize everything you do. Some things you keep to self and with the individual. Yeah. And if we've got perpetrators amongst us, talk to them. If we've got young killers in our house, try and deal with the young killers in our house before they go and kill someone's child or get themselves killed. Because a lot of the time, it's the killers that go out there and end up dead. Yeah? Thank you for listening.
Quentin, that was very powerful, and we thank you for that. I think the words that I took from you what you said, that I take away many great words that you've just said, that I have to rewind myself to listen back again when giving advice to others. But I take away the words that I sing all the time, is that we can't all be pastors, we can't all be show hosts, we can't all be Gwentons. Someone has to do something else. And when Mary said it takes a village, and where is the village? Well, the village is busy also trying to lead and be Gwentons of this world. So we can't all be Gwentons. And I agree with you. If there are organizations that are there, let's support the organizations that are there. Make them stronger and make them bigger, and so that they can serve a bigger and greater purpose. And thank you for that. And viewers, audience, you heard what Quentin said. Don't hide what's in your home, what should be resolved. And take time. I urge everyone to rewind back again after the show to hear the words from Quentin. We are going to look at some comments. Fathers' Rights UK, Family Law Advice and Support say love over hate any day of the week. Fathers' Rights is an organization that joined us here on the Extraordinary Achievers, and they are doing such great work. Please do look them up on all social media links. Jason Epoya says, you guys always speak sense of raw and real facts. Fathers' Rights UK, Family Law Advice and Support says, fair play, Michael. Fathers' Rights says, legend. And they go on to say, you can't get the good times without learning from the lessons of the past. Very, very true. Beautiful words. Thank you. We move on to our next comment from T. Alabi, and she says, Mary, you've done well. You're still standing by them, and that's by them, and that says a lot about you. She's an amazing woman. Great job, Michael. And Adepeji says, oh, wow, Michael, I agree with you. The individual needs to see our love, compassion for them. working with an organization that is involved in prison network. I know exactly how he feels. And Jason says, hashtag peace, love, and growth. Jason says, let the stars and the moon do its thing. Thank you. Banky says, how can you help one to adjust to life after prison so they don't go to culture shock? And that is a question for another whole program. We have overrun today on our program, so we'll take a couple more comments and as quickly as we can, so we can round up this evening. Jason says, I love it, Michael. I will be in touch. Adepeshi says, Mary, congratulations. So happy for you. And Mildred Spencer says, great job, sis. And Mabs says, very inspirational. Banker says, Gwenton, well said and very powerful. And Natalie says, wow, thank you, Mary, for being so transparent with your journey. It honestly takes a village to raise a child. But like what Mary says, we is the village. Village, come out, please. Teresa says, very proud of Mary, well done. Teresa says, thanks for the great show. Guan, you're amazing. I love you. We thank you for all your comments, for sharing, for participating. Next week on the Extraordinary Achievers Show, we have another topic lined up for us. For you, for us, as a team. Please do join us every Wednesday at 8 p.m. live on Facebook. If you can join us on our social media, on our website, we surely will be able to keep in touch with you and let you know what else is going on. Subscribe on our website, The Extraordinary Achievers. We thank you for taking time out. We thank our guests for taking time out. We're going to bring our guests back onto our screens as we thank them one more time, as we thank you for taking time out and joining us this evening. We would like to say thank you to Michael. Michael, thank you so very much. We'd like to say thank you to Mary. Mary, thank you so much for your time. Gwenton, thank you so very much. I appreciate that you're all very busy, each one of you, but you took time out today so that you could encourage someone else and share some information. All the information will be put into the comment box below. And if there's anything else you need to know, please contact us. We would like to thank the team at the Extraordinary Achievers, and we thank our administration team, and especially the media team that has brought this alive to you. Once again, we'll see you next week, Wednesday at 8 p.m. All the comments will be in the comment box below. Thank you to our guests. We love you and we appreciate you. And remember, do everything with love. Good night.
Thank you for watching. You can now follow us on Facebook and subscribe our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and comment.